Another opportunity for the Aztecs men's basketball team to prove once and for all it can win on the road at altitude in the Mountain West. Aztec for Life Steve Perez right here with Louis Weiner of season ticket holder fame, and we are all in on San Diego State University Aztec athletics. And to borrow from Samuel T. Jackson's character in Pulp Fiction, you know very well, Louis, I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard. Speaking of steady Eddie timekeepers, joined now as always by fellow Aztec alum, Louis Weiner. And Louis, you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
Well, I do because we did this earlier, but I won't answer the question because we're doing it live this time. So, no, Steve, what does it mean?
Well, you see, it's called a Royale with cheese.
So am I? So you saying I'm the Royale of cheese of this podcast, or am I the Big Mac? Or
all I'm saying at this point is there
or chicken nuggets.
No Royale with cheese for any of us at the moment. But we do have just for you coming up on Aztecs All In. First of all, the men's basketball team facing a dangerous Colorado State Rams team in Fort Collins, Colorado.
What does Coach Brian Dutcher think about the Aztecs shooting a zillion threes in a game even when they're not going in? We'll find out.
And a look back at the men's hoopsters and how they prevailed over the Wyoming Cowboys at home with little help from Darrion, Trammel, and Lamont, Butler. So, Louis, on this Monday, January 29th, the Aztec men in a very nice basketball shoe set, led by their intrepid coach, Brian Dutcher, they are coming off a bye week, which in college basketball is basically a weekend off. Nice timing as they do not have to compete for eyeballs on TV with a lot of other noise, and it's a chance to work on things they must improve upon if they are to come out at or near the top of what has proved to be a highly competitive Mountain West Conference. Going into the season, Louis, the Aztecs had emerged as a consensus pick to repeat as conference champs, but now, as we go to press, as we go to air, that's not quite right either. As we go to the endless land of the endless podcast, that's about it. The endless land of the endless podcast, Aztecs now are currently in third by virtue of last Tuesday's win over Wyoming at home. They are now 5-2 conference play, 16-4 overall, and that means they are looking up at New Mexico and Utah State. 11 games left in the regular season before the all-important conference tournament in Las Vegas, and a very tough stretch of games ahead. We will look back at the Cowboys game in a bit, but the immediate focus now is on the once nationally ranked Rams. They are going to be highly motivated at home after losing 2 straight and dropping out of the top 25. Coach Dutcher told you and other assembled members of what remains of the media that he wished the Aztecs had 2 weeks off.
We're getting ready for a very good Colorado State team. The most concerning thing is 3 of the next 4 are on the road in the Mountain West, and the home games against arguably the best team in the league right now, Utah State. So we know it's in front of us, and we have to be at our best to win these games. I saw today people are projecting maybe 5 Mountain West teams in the NCAA tournament. But that remains to be seen. You have to win to get there, and so our goal is to continue to win. Just trying to be at our best, execute, stay in the game, find a way to win close games at the end. And we've won close games. We haven't won them on the road. So we have to find a way to keep it close on the road and then make a timely play or 2 down the stretch to get a victory.
Now, the men coming off a stretch of 6 games in 17 days at that point, he says rest from physical and mental fatigue was one such focus. Actually, those are 2 such focuses, right? And that means they took the opportunity to cut the playbook down and get rid of some things that were not working and developing what he described as a catalog of things that they do well. Over to you, Louis.
Well, Steve, since the start of the season, we've had the chance to attend weekly media availabilities with the coach and players. Plus, after every home game, we get the chance to ask questions as well. And so far this season, we had heard from Jaden Ledee, Lamont Butler, Reese Waters, and Micah Parrish, 4 of the starters, along with bench players Darrion, Trammel, and Jay Powell. But the one guy we have not had the chance to talk with all season long has been that 5th starter Elijah Saunders. Until now. During the bye week, we finally got the chance to talk with Saunders, whose play has often been compared to Jay Powell, who comes off the bench and seems to provide a little more offense. Some question whether Powell should be starting instead of Saunders. While Saunders is averaging 6.3 points per game compared to 5 points a game for Powell, and they both played 20 games, Powell is shooting 47%, and that's better than Saunders, who's shooting 40%. And from three, Powell shoots 35% to Saunders 30%. And on the rebounding side, Saunders averages 4.4 per game to Powell's 3.5. But Saunders is also playing more minutes. He averages 22 minutes a game compared to 15 for Powell. And against Wyoming, Saunders let it fly, putting up 8 3-point shots, making his first 2. But he then missed 5 straight before making his last one. It was uncharacteristic for Saunders to put up so many threes, but he says it comes down to taking what the defense offers.
I'm in the gym shooting. Feel like I've been shooting the most I've been shooting all year, so I feel like I'm a better shooter than my percentage has shown. So, I'm confident every time I shoot the ball. Luckily I made my first 2, but it's definitely different. Luster made a good point at halftime that a team plays you like that because they want to force you to shoot uncharacteristic threes. So just try to take the threes that come to you instead of just shooting because you're wide open. Last year they played Lamont and Keyshawn that way. So, I figured they were just playing percentages. So, when the opportunity presented itself, I was just ready to shoot if I was open.
Elijah, what are you guys working on during this time off? Not playing Saturday. I have a look. You're trying to work on certain aspects of the game. What are you working on as a team and personally?
For me, focusing more on the defensive end and the rebounding. But as a team, just kind of working on stuff we haven't had a chance to work on. We've had 2 days off, prepping for another game. Like this, some time to work together as a team and build our chemistry.
So, Steve, Saunders also talked about the challenge of playing at altitude, which, of course, will be the case in Fort Collins. And he says the elevation did affect his play at BYU, New Mexico, and Boise. But he talked about staying focused on defense to help offset that. And he also said, Steve, that they would be drinking, yes, the beet juice. Beet juice helps at altitude. And he says that could help too. Beet it good.
Right. So, what else seems like such a long time ago since including the time we started trying to record this podcast? It's that game against Wyoming that the Aztecs took 81-65. They committed just 2 turnovers in that game, a season low, and they had Darrion, Trammel, and Lamont Butler both in double figures for the first time this season. Butler had 23 to lead all scorers, Trammel with 12. Here's Lamont and Darrion with a 2-for take on that night.
Definitely a boost. We're high-level players. We can do this, more often than not. But early in the season we haven't really been, scoring much. We've been, kind of distributing and, letting other guys get off. But when we're aggressive, it's hard for other teams to, to guard us and guard our wings and guard Jaden. So it just makes us, that much more dynamic.
Yeah, it's just waiting for our moment. The game's going to come to us. We have a lot of great players on this team, so it's all about being ready for your opportunity when it comes.
Good to hear, based on your question, Lewis, that Darrion feels he is back to full strength after recover from the shoulder injury that caused him to miss a lot of early season practice, left him feeling less than 100% into the season. Both guards say they responded to Wyoming's defensive move of piling on LeDee inside to pressure the Pokes' interior D more, ducking inside instead of settling for threes. And of course, something they have done well this season, scoring in transition. And Lewis, we have Coach Duscher now on how the Aztecs handled the trip back after losing to Boise State and how they went about preparing for that Wyoming game.
We don't want to over-prepare and be tired when we play. So Sunday we came back and basically walked through on the floor, jogged through a few things, had a pretty good practice yesterday, and then played. And we didn't get back. I didn't get home from Boise until 12:30 a.m. on Saturday, and we're back in the gym. I'm at the office early, and the team comes at 2 and do whatever we have to do to get ready to win a game, and that's what this team does. They concentrate, and they put the time and energy in.
Dutch called Wyoming a well-coached team. That program has always had guys who play hard no matter what the score is. I mean, any team that has a fan that stands outside during the Mountain West Conference tournament and inside with just a barrel.
Barrel guy. We love barrel guy, don't we?
You know they're going to play hard. And that's exactly what the Aztecs got in this game. Wyoming had a second-half lead at the 17:53 mark when Sam Griffin dropped a three-pointer, but the home team outscored the rest of the way, 45-24, and the Aztecs prevail. Lewis?
Steve, the Wyoming game is the breakout game we had been waiting for from Lamont Butler. He was fantastic, matching a career high with 23 points and now has 2 career 20-point games. Butler scored in double figures for the 5th time in his last 9 games, and he has now done it 8 times this season. And in those games, the Aztecs are 8-0. So that seems to be a recipe for success because in his entire SDSU career, the Aztecs are 29-5 when Butler scores in double figures. His 10 field goals were a career high. Butler was hitting from the outside and driving in as well. And after the game, I asked him about his success with Coach Dutcher weighing in as well. What was working so well for you tonight?
Getting to the paint, getting there, just in transition, I was trying to, go downhill and finish at the rim. I got a couple open threes I was able to hit, and a couple mid-range shots. But I feel like, Jaden down there just opens up the paint, so much because he creates so much attention. So I'm just, attacking, finding my ways, and, trying to feed the team as well when I can.
Jaden's like an offensive lineman down there. He's clearing space so the guards can get to the rim. He ducks in and they can't get around him. That's like an offensive lineman, a tackle pulling and clearing space for the running back. And these guys are getting downhill and finding that space when he clears it.
We had a lot of concentration. We were focused. We played very hard defensively, and I was able to get my hands on a couple deflections and things like that. But we were just flying around trying to make every shot tough. And, credit to them, they run a great offense and they have great players. So we just tried to make it tough on them, turn them over, and, make tough shots. And, they did, but not enough to win the game.
Steve, earlier we heard Elijah Saunders talk about shooting threes in that Wyoming game, and he wasn't the only one. The Aztecs shot 30 threes in that game, making 8. But after making their first 3, they went on to hit just one of their next 15 threes. Waters was 0 for 3 on the game, as was Jay Powell. And combined, Micah Perez and Jaden Ledee were just 2 for 8. The Aztecs are not a great three-point shooting team, but that doesn't seem to matter to Coach Brian Dutcher. Against Wyoming, the Cowboys were blocking lanes, as you mentioned earlier, basically forcing the Aztecs to shoot threes. When they go in, great. But when they don't, it's frustrating for both the players and the fans. But according to Coach, just keep shooting them.
I don't tell them not to shoot. I mean, they put their time in the gym. He's in there every day. Jay Powell's in there. I just change the offense. So I don't put them in positions where they can shoot. I got them ducking in and in the low post, and I don't tell them don't shoot. I'm just saying, here's what we're doing now. We're going to duck you guys in. And so without saying don't take a 3, and then Elijah came back later in the game and made one. So I don't want to tell them not to shoot. If no one wants to play for a coach that tells you not to shoot, then you just have to adjust what your plays you're running and to make that adjustment.
Well, it's definitely green light. If you believe in it, he's going to believe in it. That's the beauty of playing here. I've had a good mix of coaches that kind of reel guys in. But, I mean, for him, it's just about believing in yourself. I think he believes in the work that we put in. He knows we're in the gym. So at that point, it's just being confident and knowing that your coach is confident in you. It just makes the shot much easier.
Steve, on the season, the Aztecs have hit 31% from 3 with just one player, Reese Waters, barely shooting over 40%. Micah Perez is shooting just 33%, but we've seen him go on a roll before, so I expect and I hope we will see that again sometime before the end of the season. What do you think?
Yeah, Lewis, you got to keep firing them, and you have to remain confident as a shooter that they are going to go in. So I don't fault them for taking the shot. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody would love to see them all go in, but that's, and that's the game too with the 3-point shot. Now, it's one of those games they play by percentages. It, of course, counts more a 3-point goal than a 2-point goal, and the game has changed because of that. So it's something that the fans have to accept and roll with.
Yeah, and the fans love when they go in, but when they go 1 for 15, not so much.
It's the law of very large numbers. Keep taking them, I say. On the Mesa, the Aztec women's basketball team notched its biggest win over Boise State in 11 years with a 79-54 win over conference foe Boise State at Viejas. That is their third straight. The result of forcing a season-high 25 turnovers leading to 30 points. Their season-high 79 came against what was billed as the best defense in the Mountain West. Adriana Quezada with 19 points, 8 for 12 shooting. Kim Villalobos had 17. Abby Prohaska had 10 along with 6 assists. Head coach Stacey Terry Hudson called it a case of playing unselfish basketball against a very good defensive team. Aztec women are 14-9 and 5-4 with Colorado State coming up next Saturday. The Aztecs have 4 teams ahead of them in the Mountain West with their 5-4 conference record. UNLV and Wyoming, both with 7-1 records, are scheduled to face off Wednesday, January 31st in Vegas. What have you now? Something about NIL? More money, more money?
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. We've talked a lot on this podcast about NIL and the collective AztecLink. And yes, you did needle me for weeks before I finally signed up. I am a Spear member, as well are you.
Fear that
NIL.
Fear it.
Fear the Spear. Remember, I have a T-shirt. Remember the old Aztec Fear the Spear T-shirt?
So I remember the Warrior.
I should dust it off.
Yes.
NIL has changed college athletics forever, and for the Aztecs to compete long-term, San Diego State fans will be asked to chip in to keep the Aztecs competitive. Last June, we spoke with J.R. Tolver, former Aztec great and the man behind AztecLink, about its importance for the future of San Diego State athletics. And at the time, the collective and the athletic department had to operate separately from each other. But that is no longer the case. This week, SDSU announced a multi-year agreement with AztecLink, and now as an official NIL collective partner, AztecLink will elevate and create more NIL usage and compensation opportunities for San Diego State athletes. AztecLink can now leverage official SDSU Aztec marks, logos, and intellectual property for marketing purposes and as it pursues to new opportunities for student athletes. So during our conversation last June, Steve, with JR, he talked about how AztecLink got started and why it's so important to San Diego State athletes.
We had our launch party last April in Rancho Santa Fe at the Bridges Club, and it really just started with talking to fans and donors that had an affinity for San Diego State sports, like me, right? Like, first and foremost, let's get in a room, let's get some smart, successful people in a room. Let's talk about what NIL is. Make no mistake about it, NIL is the opportunity for student athletes to generate revenue from their name, image, and likeness. Before, when I played, I couldn't do that. If I wanted to make money outside of my scholarship money, I had to go out and get a job. You know, I was a landscaper at San Diego State for a summer, making $8 an hour. That's how I made extra money, right? And the extra money was needed because the scholarship only covers so much. You got rent, you got food, you got gas, you got your car insurance. Your scholarship isn't enough to cover that. So NIL is another opportunity for student athletes to go out and generate money to enhance their college experience. It's not about creating opportunities so student athletes can have a lavish lifestyle. It's about creating opportunities so student athletes have a way to close the gap between what they're making in college from their scholarship and what they actually need to make to have a comfortable off-the-field living environment. And that's what NIL, at least AztecLink, is all about. It's all about helping aggregate those opportunities from local businesses, from fans, and be able to funnel those opportunities to student athletes at San Diego State so that they can capitalize on those opportunities.
So, Steve, we've talked about NIL a lot, and remember Brady Hoke, football season, he didn't like it. A lot of people don't like it, but you have to adjust and deal with it at this point, because if you don't, you're just going to be left far, far behind. So good for San Diego State and AztecLink for hooking up.
It sounds like something they really had to do with the NCAA as an organization, institution, pushing their new regime of making a minimum commitment. I think it was $30K per athlete. So everybody's got to pull out their credit card or their dollar bills or start selling some cookies to help fund this and see where it takes us all.
Absolutely. And I hope Aztec fans listening on our podcast will take advantage of the opportunity to chip in along
Hopefully
the way.
We'll get somebody on board to talk more about this program and how anybody who wants to get involved will benefit.
Yeah, there's the We Believe Network now, which is also in coordination with AztecLink, and we are going to talk about that in a future episode as well.
All right, looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that'll do it for this edition of Aztecs All In. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe or follow wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also drop us a line at aztecsallin@gmail.com and follow us on the X at Aztecs_all_in. So that's it for now. For Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner. Take care.